What is up, breath of fresh air? I'm Patrick. I'm going to be your host today, and we have a crazy good topic to talk about today. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Dan Lanning, you, sir, are under the microscope today. Let's get it. So, I want to talk about this man right here, Mr. Dan Lanning, who pulled off one of the most genius moves in all of college sports today, in my personal opinion. Let me give you some background before we jump into what we're going to be talking about, which is going to be called the new Dan Lanning rule that NCAA is incorporating starting, I guess, this week. So about 10 seconds left of the game against Ohio State Buckeyes. The Oregon Ducks are up 32-31 with 10 seconds left. So this man calls a timeout with 10 seconds left with the Buckeyes on Oregon's 43-yard line and their 3rd and 25. So he calls a timeout, gets his team together. They come back out. They have 12 men on the field. So all his team has to do is just not give up a big play. And they run 4 valuable seconds off of that clock. That puts the Buckeyes in a position where they can't really do much in a play because Oregon gets hit with a flag. That takes the 4 seconds off, but he gives up 5 yards. So now it is 3rd and 21 or 3rd and 20 and 6 seconds left on the clock. And that really puts them in a bad situation whether they're going to kick a field goal or make a play. And the field goal is probably about 55 yards away at this point. So it really puts Ohio State in a very unique situation where ultimately the Buckeyes run it out and run time off the clock, and Oregon comes off with a huge win over the Buckeyes, which I don't really consider this an upset. I mean, Oregon was ranked 4th at the time. Buckeyes were ranked 2nd. To me, that's just a good football game. I mean, there's no upsets. Oregon has proved that they are legit and should be high in the ranks. And to me, that's not an upset. But that man right there, genius move. He played everything by the rules. There's nothing that says that he couldn't do this. He ran the time off the clock, and ultimately, Oregon Ducks win. So fast forward to this week. Now there is a new rule that NCAA has put in place that puts, let me just read this to you because I think that would be a little better for y'all to understand. So after the 2-minute timeout on either half, if the defense commits a substitution foul and 12 players are on the field and participate in a down, officials will penalize the defense on the foul, and the offense gets an option to reset the game clock. Now, it's a very interesting rule, the fact that Dan Lanning was this aware of the entire situation to put this in place. And now the NCAA, and I will tell you this, I give NCAA some credit on this one, and you know how I feel about the NCAA anyway, but I'm going to give them some credit on this one because the reaction to it is swift. Normally, they're not like this. They're nothing like this. Normally, it takes them years and years and years to develop something that prevents a situation like this. But I don't know how I feel. I guess I kind of feel about the rule this way because there's really only 2 ways that you could really feel about the rule. And that is, well, it happened to the Ohio State Buckeyes, and it seems like to me it's just convenience. It's a convenience call. Or, kind of the way I feel about it is progression. I know a lot of coaches, they want to get the win. And that's what it's really all about. Let's get the win. Let's get the win for our school. Let's get the win for our football team, and let's just move forward. And Dan Lanning did nothing wrong based on the rules that were in place. He did nothing wrong. He played the game the way he was supposed to play. He played the rules the way the rules were written down. Nothing wrong with that. But let's get the loopholes out. And I'm glad Dan Lanning had pointed out this loophole, and he made sure that everybody was going to know about it. And obviously, they're not going to be able to do it again because now, with the new rules, it would take the 5-yard penalty, but it would still be 10 seconds on the clock. So that would make that rule a little, or it makes it a little bit more fair because nobody wants to win on a technicality. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's about wins and losses. And if I was in Dan Lanning's position, absolutely would do it. As a fan of college football, I'm glad they're making this change. I'm glad that they're putting this in place. And believe me, it's not because the Ohio State Buckeyes lost. I'm glad they lost. But I'm glad that they're putting this in place because this shows progression, and it shows swift progression. I have to give the NCAA a lot of credit on that because normally it takes them forever. And, and if this was in the NFL, the NFL would probably take 10 to 15 years to make sure that they got that rule right. But no, I like this rule. I like where the NCAA is heading with this rule. I am in favor of it. Whether it was going to be, in favor of it or not, it doesn't matter. It was going in place because, it is a loophole within the system that allowed Oregon to ultimately get that win. And who's to say that Oregon wasn't going to win it anyway? It was 10 seconds, and all Oregon has to do is really just make sure they don't give up the big play and don't miss a tackle. And obviously they could have probably had a turnover or whatever. There's many things that could have happened within that time frame, but it did happen this way. We see the rule change. Kudos to the NCAA for making that change, in my personal opinion, and making the game a little bit more, a little bit more harder for these teams to play and a little bit more funner for us as fans to watch. So, but yeah, give me your opinion on that. That's what I'm breathing on today. Give us those feedbacks and comments. Let us know what we're doing, good, bad, ugly. It don't matter. We always love the feedback and always make a response to the comments. So until next time, I'm out.